Georgia, Georgia.
Hello, shooters, loaders, and casters. Welcome to the Georgia Shooting Connection Friday Night live stream. Hope y'all had a great week. It's December. Get your Christmas list ready. Thank all y'all for being here. CW, how was your week, brother?
I had a pretty good week. I've been stayed busy, been to the range, made a whole bunch of videos. I've been putting out a video every day. Been having a good time. A little bit of a rough day yesterday afternoon, but it wasn't too bad. Too many damn Christmas songs that make me think of Mama, and it gets rough. But I'll get through it. Hillbilly, how was your week?
Oh man, mine was just fine as frogs here. I tell you what, we had a good week. Weather wasn't cooperating each and every day. We had some drizzly rain and a little bit of coldness and stuff, but still managed to get some videos shot and everything, and just loving life. Great to be a part of this, wonderful 2A community we got here. Always loving Friday nights with Georgia Shooting Connection. Awesome side chat out there. And I'm excited to get started. So how about you, Gene? What are you up to, buddy?
Oh, not much. I had a pretty good week myself, but I winced out on going to the outdoor range because it was just too cold here. It was in the teens with the wind chills. It was raining, and I was just like, it's just going to be miserable. So I'm going to hit the range tomorrow and get all those videos made that I wanted to make all week. Try to jam them all in one day. Other than that, doing fine. Yeah, 1st of December. It's supposed to be a pretty warm month for all of us from what I see on the forecast, the future forecast. So just happy to be here tonight. And Walter, what you got?
Hey, I got to say that, my weekend was shaping up to be just terrible. I was down in the dumps. And so, I got some new clothes while I was there. But that didn't seem to help until I got up Monday morning and somebody had hijacked my channel. Not mentioning any names, but it was that other Viejo up there. Reached right on out and grabbed a hold of my channel and did a Moldy Monday with, kind of one of the nicer molds I've actually seen, one you could eat. That was pretty good. So that did cheer me right on up, and I had a good week. Everything was downhill and sliding along on grease grooves after that. I got some videos knocked out, got to the hospital to get my MRI done on my knee, and they said, yeah, go have a nice day. You ain't going to hear anything from us for another week anyways. And then all of those nasty-looking boogery glued on bandages under my nose came off and left me with a nice scar under there that, I still got to come up with a better story. But anyway, so my week was good. And it started off because of the hillbilly up there. So I thank you for that, buddy.
Man, you're welcome. I had a lot of fun doing it. I hope I didn't offend anybody by doing it. I was just trying to have fun. And I really hope that mold was YouTube compliant, so you didn't get in any trouble for that mold.
Yeah, no, they haven't said anything yet. No.
It was a hollow point.
It was a hollow point. It was a big hollow point. It was good. You guys in the side chat, if you didn't see what he did, go over to my channel and look at Moldy Monday 39.5. It was hilarious. He got it all right. Got the vest, got the hat, got it all done. So, Mark, what do you got going on, buddy?
Oh, it's been a good week. We were off Monday, and I got a little bit of stuff done here around the house. I didn't end up going out hunting, and I haven't really had much time to do much, loading or leather work or anything after school. Been staying plenty busy, but I'm hoping maybe we'll get out to the range one day this weekend. Hoping maybe I might even get to do a little bit of casting again. So just been a wonderful weekend. It's nice to have December and cool weather. Looking forward to a nice evening chatting with all of you and looking at the side chat and keeping up with that conversation as best I can. So very happy to be here. Thanks for having me. MacMan, how are you, buddy?
Hi, guys. Thanks for letting me jump on. I haven't been on for a while. Yeah, I've had a good week. It's finally cooled down here. We're 60s, low 70s in the day now, and it's 40s in the night. It's great. I actually getting out and doing making some videos. I dropped a load of videos. Out tomorrow. We're going to go duck hunting tomorrow. So that's going to be my first chance to go duck hunting. I'm going to try and make some videos. But you know what it's like if you've ever duck hunt. They come in pretty quick. They come in and they're gone pretty quick. So I'll try and get some videos done and we'll see what we can do there. I was lucky enough to hit my 800 subs last weekend, and I dropped a little video. So if anybody wants to get in on that free giveaway, I'm giving away a nice little knife. So if you want to get on that, jump on my channel. Just any comment you like on that video, and that'll get you in the draw. And I'll probably do the draw tomorrow afternoon or Sunday. And it's really good to see all you guys. Like I said, it's a bit easier for me now with the time change, the hour different. It makes it so much easier for me to jump on these chats. Before I was still in work when they were starting. It was really hard, but I really appreciate jumping on and missed you all. And I'm hoping for a good show tonight.
Well, let's see what we can do about that. We've got numerous topics. If y'all saw the email, we don't have to do them all. We may not get to them. I think last week we set a record for viewers. We had like 80 at one point, but it was going out to not just American Hillbillies channel, but to Chris from the 740s channel as well. And we had the two guys, Kerry and Blake, on from Hardcore Storage. And apparently some of you guys like that because some of you placed orders on their website while we were on the air. My question is, we want some feedback. We want to know, and we'll talk to the panel as well. But you guys in the side chat, let us know if that's something you like on occasion. Should we try to do that more? Like once every couple of months, every 6 months, let us know how you feel about somebody coming on to pretty much peddle their wares on the channel. And Walter said he enjoyed those guys. There's Justin Grimm, Edward Petty. So that's what we're looking for, a little feedback tonight.
I think it was kind of nice having them on. I think maybe once a month, once every month and a half or so, kind of space it a little closer, get someone with a different new product on.
Yeah, especially if it's something that's a relatively new product. Those guys, well, for one thing, those two guys were outgoing. They're good to talk with.
Yeah, they were characters. They were good.
Yeah. And they had something going, they had a new project, that looked like it was going to develop into something. They seemed to be willing to listen and, to our ideas about, hey, maybe you could do this, maybe you could do that. And what about this? So that held my interest the whole time they were on. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed them.
I watched it from the outside and it was really good. They seemed good guys. Their products looked really good. And it was something different. It was nice to listen to them and watch what they were doing. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was good.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on the prototype for the hard seltzer holder so I can take that to the range to shoot.
You're going to shoot the seltzer holder?
Well, the seltzer, but I need to carry the seltzer out there and something. I don't want to be seen with that stuff, so I put it in my ammo can.
You're contaminating your ammo.
So, Duffer, I would love that, but a man's got to know his limitations. I don't think I can pull that one off. I don't have quite the moxie for that one.
It's free to send the email to ask. Just saying. I've been told no before in my life. I'll hear it again. So hey, might as well throw that one in there too.
Big Al said he would like it if one of us had used it. That's so new that, well, I could have bought some of that stuff, but you know, at the same time, I was loaning them our platform to get the exposure, and they had 80 people watching. You know,
Mhm.
and so I wasn't going to pay for that if
Right.
that makes any sense. We got
No,
Christian Crest out there, and Bama Dad says he likes it, especially if it's an innovator in the reloading community, like some of the guys that we need to get Tex to come on. Yeah, that would be great, Mr. Pollard. Which brings us we should probably segue that into one of the topics that Mr. Viejo had. Tactical Fud said he ordered 4 of the ammo can trays. Okay. What does that mean, CW? I'm lost.
I was talking with Christian about Arkin scopes.
Oh, you're trying to get me to give you one?
You're trying to get me to buy them. You've been talking about them for a while, and I don't own one yet. He did a video today or yesterday on the Arkin scopes, and he did one a little while ago on an optics mount from Arkin.
First time I ever seen an Arkin scope was at a local gun show here a few years ago, and there was a dealer set up, and he had a spread of them laid out, all these different Arkin scopes, and they were really nice. And then shot Jamie's gun and looking through that, and that was pretty smooth.
And they do some good sales too, and I guess they're as good as any other better scope. So just a matter of time before I try one.
Big Al's got 4 of them. I'm dying to get my hands on one of their one of those LPVO things.
Yeah.
Jamie, remind me, and we might need to give Moondog a holler for you.
Yeah, Moondog is. I started watching one of his videos, and I had to cut it off to get ready for this. Idaho says Arkin ain't bad. Back to the primer thing. All right, Defense Dad, since you brought it up. Walter wants to know. That's the one, Christian. That. Yeah. 8 power, 1 to 8. Yeah. I think it'd be great on my 350 AR. Anyway, now that small pistol primers are more readily available, are you paying the higher prices to get shooting again? And did you run low on primers?
Well, since I posed that question, I'll go ahead and start it off. Depends on whose standards you're talking about when you say, did you run low? When I get down to like 10,000 primers, I consider myself out of primers, pretty much. So because it happened once, well, more than once before in the past. You've been reloading long enough. This is not our first rodeo, and we've talked about that before. And so I had tried to stay stocked up, but then I went for like 6-8 months, maybe more than that, without being able to find primers at all, let alone at any price. And I bought a couple of bricks here and there at the $100 mark. And then I started saying, yeah, no, I'll wait and see if any sales come up. And gradually they started coming back on the market, but still hovering around that $90 mark. And I think I bought a couple bricks here locally at $90 because I didn't have to pay hazmat, but I didn't buy very many. And then I got a good deal on a case on 5,000 at one point, and I bought those, and those were Winchester primers. And I haven't bought much since then because now I'm back up to kind of where I need to be. But now we're seeing some less expensive prices, in particular those ones from Argentina, the Servicios Aventuras that Republic Ammunition has had. They were the first ones that I saw that had them. I think maybe Powder Valley had, and I bought some and ran them, and they ran pretty much, fine. I think out of the whole brick that I bought, I had 3 misfires, which isn't horrible, and the price was way better than anybody else. So I think that, if I weren't pretty flush right now with small pistol primers, that I'd be looking at being willing to pay $50-$60 a brick, because I don't see the prices for our CCIs or our Federals going down below that anytime soon anyway. So I need large pistol primers again, but so that's kind of where I am. I'm willing to pay $50 or $60, $80, $90, $100. I bought a couple bricks here and there at those kinds of prices just to keep my blood pressure down a little bit.
Well, Walter, I'll tell you this. We charge $2 over the wholesale cost of a brick of CCI.
Wow.
We make $2 on a brick. So that's
and they're still expensive. The CCI is sending them to you guys at a very exaggerated price, probably because they can.
That's getting a pallet of $500,000 to $1 million of them in.
That's amazing.
That's buying that big of bulk.
Gosh.
The CCI is and their parent companies are not coming down on their wholesale cost. They're not. I see it. I unpack them, I stock them. I see what's going on, and it's ridiculous on how much the companies have jacked it up. They jacked it up so far, and now they want to keep their profits up there.
Yeah.
They don't want to lessen their profits back down.
Yeah. And there have been a number of guys who've done reviews of those Servicios primers too. Jesse B Outdoors ran through a brick of them and had pretty good success with them, and several other guys have, including myself. So
yeah, I did a video on them. I had I had a 1% failure rate with them.
Yeah, I had less than that.
I put them back in, and they fired back off though. I think I only had maybe one that didn't, but they fired back off on a second round through. So not bad.
Could have been a seating issue.
Could have been. Could have been.
I hate to interrupt a good conversation, but we got a question right here. Got a couple of questions we need to address. Andy wants CW to tell him what the BHN is of those soup cans.
Yeah, he's asking about the bullets that I cast and sent him, and I replied in the side chat. They should be pretty close to clip-on wheel weights, but they were just cast, so they may need to season up and take a little time to get up to full hardness.
Okay, next question. Christian Grest wants to know, large rifle primers good for auto loaders like ARs. I would prefer CCI, but I think they're fine.
First off, the question comes because ARs have a floating firing pin, and it rocks back and forth. So when you drop the bolt, the firing pin has inertia, and it bounces off the primer. So you worry about that because you want to make sure you have a strong enough cup that you're not going to set it off just by dropping your bolt. So that's the reason for the question. The answer to that is they should be, but always be leery and maybe try it. Drop the bolt with just a primed case and see what you get. I think you might be surprised how much of a dent you can get, especially if you do it multiple times. And that's the bigger worry. If you're loading and unloading and you're doing it multiple times, it can be accumulative. So I use regular primers in my ARs without a lot of worry, but it is a concern.
I've shot them in an AR-15 and an AR-10, and I've had no issues at all. Touch wood. Hopefully, it stays the same. But I've never had one go off when I've dropped the bolt. So, and I use a lot of those primers, and they've been good for me.
I haven't used any more of them past that test. I mean, we've got them at the shop. I've been stuck on those Gen X primers. The best luck I've had is with those Gen X in all my pistol shooting. Let's see, I used all Gen X in my 10 millimeter, my large pistol and small pistol for all my USPSA stuff, and so far they've been the best ones for me.
Those I haven't tried yet. How about you guys over in the side chat? Anybody out there use the Gen X with good success? And because their prices have been pretty good and they've been available.
Andre just said he got some for $60 a brick.
Not bad, yeah.
That's really good.
CCI 200s. That's really good.
When I did my last video on picking stuff up over the Black Friday, I was telling about, I don't know how many of you guys have got a Shields close to you, Shell Shields. So we've had one that's opened up, and they had primers in there, and there was thousands and thousands of them in there. And they were priced at $69, but you could get 15% off all in-stock products for reloading, bullets, brass, everything. So it's bringing them down to $59. And because I could pick them up, I wasn't paying any hazmat, I wasn't paying any postage on them. So for $59 I think I picked up a load of CCIs, I picked up Remington, I picked up Winchester, and they had a little plaque on the shelf, please, customer courtesy, just take one box. So I actually went in Thursday, which was obviously the Friday, which was Black Friday, and I asked the guy, any chance I could take 2 boxes? One, I'll carry one, my wife will carry one. He goes, take as many as you want, ignore that sign. If you want to take 20 boxes, take it. We're just looking for the sales today. So I walked out there with 10 boxes, and they didn't query it. But for $59 a box, I think it's still running. I think they still got the sign up there, and that covers all the bullets, all the brass, all the powder they got in stock, everything. So it's worth trying to get into one of those places.
Yeah, that's a good price.
Bambadad says, but it's just they've been open about 2 months, Bambadad, and I believe it's nationwide. It was just a promo they were running, 15% off all in stock products. So yeah, I'm gonna try go back the weekend, see if they still got them, and I'll try and buy some more.
Yeah, as Gene was saying, it's not looking like the major manufacturers are going to do much for us as far as bringing the base price down. Unless you can find some, a good sale like you did, Julian. So
yeah, I think $50 to $60 a box is going to be the new norm. I'd love to see them going down lower, but they've sold them for the last 2-3 years, knowing that they can get that much money for them. So why would they drop them back to 30? They know that people are going to pay the prices, so they may as well make the extra money. And I really can't see them coming down unless there's a big sale going on.
Okay, Defense Dad has a question right here. First of all, I try my best not to reload 9mm. But if you're casting your bullets, let's say, what if you're casting 9mm bullets? What do you think those projectiles are costing you?
For me, I've added mine up a number of times, and my base alloy, which is range scrap, I get free, but then I always add a little bit of tin and sometimes some stuff to harden the alloy up a little bit, and that brings the cost up. But if I use my normal alloy for a 9mm bullet, those bullets would cost me just a little over a penny for the projectile for 120-ish grain bullet.
Okay, let's say
Yeah.
all right, if we buy primers at $60 or $100 for 1,000, that's 10 cents a pop. If you cast your own bullets, let's say 2 cents, so we're at 12 cents. We're probably at what, 2 to 3 cents each for
powder.
powder?
Yeah, 15 cents a round. It tops probably if you're casting your own.
So if you're buying your projectiles, then
A plated 9mm bullet's about a dime, might be 11 cents for plated. Jacketed is going to be 20 cents.
I've seen MacMan's sheet. I bet he knows right down to the exact half cent.
Yeah, I just checked now. My last batch of 147 grain cast bullets with used brass, I'm making them for 9 cents.
9 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about there. I get all my brass at the range. Primers are 6 to 7 cents a piece. Powder 2 cents. Yeah, I'm right 8-9 cents too. I mean that's way better than paying 22 to 25 cents a factory round.
And then you got to add on that shipping too. A lot of times.
And of course, as you go up in caliber, the prices get higher and higher and higher. You start getting in talking about something like 44 mag or 41 mag or even 357 and 38 stuff. 44 mag factory round is going to cost you $1.25, close to it. Time you have it shipped in and whatnot. Every time you pull a trigger, so. And the price for a cast round for 44 isn't all that much more than the price for a cast 9mm if you're, not counting the price of brass, but.
I want to ask you, reloaders, something. Has reloaders across the country ever put a hold on, like, say, buying primers for a week or a month to force the price down? I know as United States, we've done that for gasoline and some other stuff, and it actually worked. So I don't know, has there ever been any times in the past that reloaders have got together and said, hey, we're not buying primers for a month or whatever the case might be?
I don't remember ever seeing that actually happen. Guys have talked about it, particularly during pandemic, when the prices went way up, folks were saying, hey, don't buy them, leave them on the shelf. Don't buy them. But people did anyway. So
People get scared and they just buy them anyway.
yeah.
Well, talking about the price of factory ammo, a box of Ammo Incorporated 45 long Colt, 1,000 rounds is $650. That's 65 cents a piece. Now, how much does it cost us to load a long Colt when you cast your own bullets?
Yeah.
Check now.
Not much more than the price of a 9mm, maybe another penny on the lead and another penny on the powder, and that's it.
15 cents with a primer.
Yeah.
As long as you're not doing the Jesse B outdoors to it, your brass is safe.
Yeah.
Spicy loads.
That was cold. It was cold.
Man, I seen that and I shut the video off. I'm like, I can't watch that, man.
Oops.
He's destroying it.
He loaded those dudes up, but that's all right. It's his brass, his gun.
The last batch of 45 Colt with cast bullets I loaded came out at 35 cents each.
You know what it was, Walter? He come into the shop because we live local to each other. He come into the shop and my boss hooked him up on some pre-primed 45 Colt brass that we have there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
basically almost gave it to him. Okay, basically gave it to him. So that's what he was doing. Really didn't cost him anything to do that little experiment.
Yeah. You know, and our price for a cast bullet, if you're gonna shoot higher pressure rounds, you know, we got to add some hardening alloy, some, you know, antimony. We got to put some other materials in that are a little bit more expensive than clip-on wheel weights or range scrap or something. So we've got to add some super hard or some linotype or foundry type or something like that to harden those bullets up just a little bit. And that does raise the price because stuff like super hard and linotype and tin, those are expensive. You know, $4, $5, $6 a pound for that stuff. So, and it's hard to find free anymore. You used to get linotype free
All right,
if
I'm
you had a
way
printer
behind.
nearby. There's Daniel. God is my judge. Hey, Daniel.
Thanks, Rollis. Yeah, well, if you factor in the cost of your time, well, there goes the whole shooting match, Idaho. Yeah, we spend
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
that's right, James. I gotta add power to run that pot.
I don't count counting time for reloading, just to the same fact that I really love doing it. And it's something that if I wasn't out to doing it, I might be sitting in the house drinking a few beers, and that's more expensive than loading some ammo up. So my time out here is just relaxing time, enjoyable time, and I just love being out here.
That's kind of the same with me too. It's relaxing time. It's, you know, it's mental health for me to get out there and do that stuff. So I don't count my time either. If I was a working guy though, if I wasn't retired, you know, and I had a family to pay attention to and little kids that needed stuff or livestock or any of those other kinds of things that were you know, had demands on my time, that'd be a different story for me. You know, I might say, you know what, I just don't have time to load this 9mm. I'm just going to go buy it. You know, I'll save my scarce reloading time to load the expensive stuff, the rifle rounds and the Magnum stuff, because you're not going to make that many of those anyway, probably. So
the loading that I've done for 9mm was just for the exercise to see if I could do it and what I needed to put together to do it, so that if in the future I couldn't get, you know, for whatever reason, that I know I could feed, you know, a couple of pistols if I needed to. And it certainly didn't hurt. The son likes to blow through a box or two whenever we go to the range.
I have a press set up just for 9mm.
Yeah.
I load so much of it. It's insane. I'm loading 9 major now. I load all the other rounds for Miss Hot Shot and all of our Plinken stuff for the range. Because I got too many 9mm, man. I got them out. I got out and looking at me the other day and was like, I need something else. Too many.
and that's a different side of the coin too. If you're hand loading stuff that you know, for match grade ammo, you're not going to go out and buy match grade ammo for 20 cents a round for 9mm. Probably you can, you know.
Oh no.
Guys, I gotta plug Andy here. He's got commercial people interested in zinc bullets. If you're a reloader, if you're getting any zinc when you buy wheel weights from your tire store, or they give them to you, whatever, please send them to Andy, because he's got a really good use for them. And if you're not going to cast zinc bullets, then please send them to Andy.
I've actually got 2 boxes put together to send him another medium flat rate box. And I've got enough zinc right now. I've got enough for 2 boxes, and I still got to hit my local tire stores. We'll try to hit them next week, and I'll have some more by then.
I think Hasbro's put a few zinc bullets to good use too.
So I've got to say that Idaho, thank you, brother. I really appreciate this comment right here, because we've got to really got to stress the point that, 22 we can't reload 22 anyway. We don't have some of your more common rounds is not where reloading shines as far as what it costs you versus what you can buy it for and your time, so forth and so on. And MacMan and certainly CW and Mark will tell you where reloading really shines are those rare cases, those rounds, those cartridges that are not as common in the store. Like for me, what got me started was 35 Remington. 35 Remington in the 90s was costing $36 for a box of 20.
Wow.
I wasn't doing that. And I could cast my own 200 grain Lee bullet. I was reloading that stuff for next to nothing, man, like 15, 20 cents a pop. And to buy it was, Scotsman's got it right.
Yeah, and the stuff you produce can be so much better than what you can buy.
So
Well, that first batch of 338 Lepore I bought, made, was all new product. It was costing almost $12 a round to make it. And now that I've shot it once and I'm on my second cycle, it's down to almost $6. And I think on my next cycle, it brings it down to about $4.50. And that's roughly where it's going to be then for me to make a 338 Lepore round $4.50. But the first one was $12.
Yeah,
Wow.
brass is the big cost when you have cartridges like that. It's still expensive to get the brass. And of course that's starting with all new product,
Yeah.
You always got to buy primers, you got to buy powder. You may or may not need to buy the bullets, but you need the cases. You got to buy those or pick them up somewhere, so you're going to pay a used cost or a brand new cost. And the rare ones, you're probably not going to pick them up somewhere. So you're going to have to buy them, whether they're used or new.
And if anybody loads these expensive cartridges, it's well worth buying an annealing machine because it just can extend the life of that brass so much.
Okay. Y'all ready? Today's Chris's birthday.
Oh, is it today? I missed it. Darn it.
And the normal convention says that when we sing, we sound like a group of drunken Irishmen, which could not be more offensive to my brother, the Scottish American. But I think we got to, because it's Chris from the 740. Y'all ready?
Let's hit it.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday to you.
Happy
birthday to you.
Happy
birthday, dear Chris.
Boy, that fell right apart.
Happy birthday.
Happy
birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Chris. We love you, brother.
Blow out
Yes,
the
we don't
candles, buddy.
That
You
did
talk
sound
about
like
a boatload full of bullfrogs farting in the bathtub, man.
Man, let me tell y'all something.
Drunken Irish bullfrogs.
The dogs are going ape shit in there.
I'm afraid. I'm
I
going
don't
to
blame
say
them.
Drunken Irishman sound way better than we did.
No, they don't.
I think you're right, Mike.
Yeah, Mama's screaming at me. I'm in big trouble for that.
Uh-oh. That's fun though.
She yelled, "Shut up!" I don't know if she was yelling at us or at the
The
dogs.
dogs.
Yeah, probably the dogs.
Both.
Same thing, really.
Look at that 6-shooter Texans. Mom would have been 97 today. My condolences, 6. Well, James, happy birthday to you too, brother, but please don't make us do that again.
Nobody wants that.
Okay, we tried this last week and it flopped on its ear. It's time for us to say hello to the side chat. What we're going to have them type in today?
Nothing that has .com on the end of it.
I know. CCI.
There we go. Easy
CCI.
one.
There's Gizzard Gary. How old were you, James Pugh?
12.
I don't know.
Woo, look at
Holy-
those flyby.
Good night.
Good luck,
How many guys
Jamie.
we got in here?
I think everybody posted them at one time there.
Here we go. We got Viejo, Mr. Walter on the side, in the side chat and on the panel. CW Longshot, reloading from the hot pot. The Scottish American MacMan 039 reloading. MacMan 039 reloading. Don't hit enter twice, MacMan. You just want me to call your name out twice?
I don't know why you did that.
Defense Dad, Andy 79Z28, 6-shooter Texan, Duffer 426, Alaska 1 Andy, Chris from the 740, Gizzard Gary Hillbilly Up, who is simulcasting on his channel. Thank you, brother. Walks Fletcher, Bama Dad, Rich White, Defense Dad, Andre D'Angelo, Adam Winchell, Mr. Pollard, Papa's Place, Tactical Fudd, Michael Dunn, Senior Master Sergeant Bulldog, Christian Grest, Reloader 762, Idaho Rogers, USMC, Bobby Barlow, Mike Hester, Tommy Boy, Kyle, Adam Winchell, 67 Rebel SST AMC, Corners and Doors, Rich B, Edward Petty, Ms. Hotshot, hey, Paul Loud, he's trying to confuse me on purpose. See what I did there?
Yeah.
Ms. Hotshot, Edward Petty, Daniel God is my judge, James Pugh, Chris from the 740, and Idaho Rogers says CCI is made in Idaho, and okay. James Pugh, he was 36, still a young man.
I don't remember 36.
Papa's Place is out there. Paul Loud. Yeah. See, I'm not real bright, Paul. You have to explain it to me in little bitty words so I can understand. And Daniel God is my judge. Dwayne 7834 and Georgia trapping and fishing. He's got a big day coming up from what rumors have it. But then again, they're just rumors. So here we go. There's that.
Oh, of course we have to have that.
Yep. I'm actually kind of surprised to see Walks Fletcher here, being as how it's Thursday and all.
Yeah.
in a text this morning with Walks, I'd mentioned, hey, it's Georgia chat night, and he goes, wait, this is only Thursday. I thought the Georgia chat was on Friday. We had to tell him, hey, no, Raj, it's Friday.
It really is.
There's old one guy. See, that's what happens when you retire. The
Well,
only
the good
thing
part
you
is
got to do is remember it's Sunday so you can go to church, right? That's it.
you might not know what day it is, but the other side of it is you don't really care.
Thanks,
6
Paul.
Saturdays and a Sunday. There you go. So much gooder now. Yeah. Hey, Mock's back. Tread's in here.
There's Tread.
Oh boy.
And Idaho
Don't
says
start
it's
that.
one of his favorite arguments.
Yeah. And it'll always be there. That's an
always-
argument that's going to persist
Yep.
forever. I mean, it's been there for 100 years already.
It's a Ford versus Chevy, blonde versus brunette argument.
Yeah.
Both.
Dang defense, Dad. Hang around with us, man. 6'5" Creedmoor. Yeah. There's Michael Dunn says when you retire, every day is Friday. Yeehaw. Paul, don't say that, man. Somebody will do that. I've got some of those, Bama Dad, but I hadn't loaded them up and shotted them yet. Is that
You're in good company. It'll be okay.
okay? Dang, Mike. Don't sugarcoat it, buddy. All right. We've talked about primers and so the next question is a logical extension from that. And that is, if you don't reload, where and how do you get your ammo? Do you go to the local gun store? Do you order it online and pay hazmat and shipping? Just thought that was the next obvious question.
It's a good question, and one that gets talked about a lot. You know, there's a line you kind of need to toe up to, and it's do you do your best to support your local mom and pop, gun shop, or do you go for the cheapest you can possibly get and get it online? Getting it online is not even an issue for me. We can't do it here in California. We can't have it sent to our house anymore. So you're pretty much gonna go to the gun shop for it.
Dang, Tommy boy, I ain't believing that, man.
I
I
tried
can
to buy
see why.
my ammo in a case just like Walter does his Boone's Farm wine.
Yeah.
Case at a time.
Hey, now we all grew up on that.
Yeah.
Remember your roots.
Some of us didn't grow up.
There's that.
I always try to go local if I'm going to buy any kind of factory ammo, such as my carry ammo. I always go to local stores to get it, local mom and pops first. I always try the smallest one first to see if they've got what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And then I'll work my way up until, if I have to, I'll end up going to like a major shooting center if I can't find it at mom and pops. But I always try small first.
I'm the same way, Gene. I try to buy, local small stores all I can. Other than that, I just wait for sales. I mean, I literally put out a video a few hours ago about some of the sales that I'd got this last week, and it was too hard to turn down. I mean, for me not being a reloader, the prices were just amazing.
Yeah, there you go. I know, man, it's hard.
Yeah, I buy very little factory ammo except for self-defense rounds. The firearm that's at my bedside's got factory ammo in it. And I'll go shoot that stuff up once a year and go buy another box. But I don't buy lots and lots and lots of it, so the price is not a huge issue. It's expensive, but I get that locally, of course.
Yeah, it's thank you, Johnny. There's one sound. One sound mind in the crowd. Colors outside the lines. So I find it interesting. I mean, sometimes your local gun stores are much higher than going to the chain store. I'd rather buy from them, but at the same time, I ain't gonna waste money.
Right.
And as far as buying it online, you better have a dang good price on it because you're adding shipping, taxes, and hazmat. So it's kind of hard for me to justify ordering it online, as well as primers and powders. I try to buy everything so I don't have to pay shipping and hazmat. And I'm sure most of you guys do too.
I just haven't wrap mine in aluminum foil and put it in a Ziploc. That way, don't need hazmat. They're perfectly safe that way.
With a little foam added to it just to keep the jingling down, huh?
Right there
Add
you
little
go.
air bubbles. Seeds, yeah.
Good night, Christian. Thanks for coming in, buddy. We enjoy you being around here.
I seen James there just said that he still has ammo from back when primers for $30 a brick. Do you guys have to take caution to like storing your primers? Like you do,
Sure.
maybe regular ammo and stuff.
Yep. Cool and dry, just like everything else. Yep,
Okay.
for sure. And you should rotate it out because it's going to last a really long time stored properly. I've still got bricks of primers that are $10, $12.
Wow.
So it lasts a long time.
Biggest thing, you don't want any cleaning products anywhere near your primers. You don't want to be, if you've got them stacked on a shelf and you're cleaning next to them, you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be using any of this, any of these products we use for cleaning our barrels anywhere near those primers because it'll soon ruin them.
Good night, Big Al. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Good night, Big Al.
Not, buddy.
Yeah, I've always tried to keep my Dawn dish soap away from my primers as much as possible.
I try to keep it away from my hands too.
It chaps me out really bad if I wash my hands a lot with it.
There you go, Mike.
Oh boy.
Wow.
Yo, that's cheap. Yeah. And a number of guys over here in the side chat, you guys have chimed in saying you've still got primers, that you spent 12, 15, 20 bucks a brick for, and that stuff's I'm trying to remember when the last time I saw $12. It's 15 years, maybe 20.
Yeah, it was probably all of that.
Yeah. And so that's a testament to how long those primers are going to last if you keep them dry and don't let them get overheated or anything like that. Got a good place to store them. I keep mine indoors, which may not be the best thing, but I've got a place indoors where I keep all of mine, and I use the oldest ones first.
Do you guys use those little silicone packets when you store stuff like that? Most in your stuff?
No, I figure if it's got a sign on it that says "Do not eat," I don't need to put it around my animal.
That'd be like cleaning products there.
Yeah.
I don't do that, Hillbilly. I imagine I might if I lived in a place where the humidity in my house wasn't as low as it generally is. My humidity even though outside any summer morning the humidity is going to be 90 to 100% because it's foggy, but it doesn't get that way indoors. It might get to 50, and I've never had an issue with just storing them in a shelf rather than locked up in a box, which probably is not a good idea either. But they don't give me a problem that way. Like I said, I've got primers that are 10 years old that I'm pulling off the back of the shelf now that are fine. They've been there for 10 years. So.
That's good to know, Andy. Thanks, buddy.
That's something that I've started doing the past probably 20 years too. 6-shooter is putting dates on bottles of powder and boxes of primers. When I bought primers years ago, it was always by the flat. So it was a whole flat of them, 5,000 primers.
Yep.
So I didn't date them because I had a whole flat of them. I just put the flat on the box on the shelf and used them, but nowadays I don't buy flats anymore like everybody else. I buy bricks, and I've been labeling them. Yeah.
I don't know if it makes any difference, but for a long time I've vacuumed sealed a lot of stuff, my ammo and stuff, and I just throw one of those little silicone packs in there with it, and I don't know if it'll make any difference but for no more than it costs me to do it.
Sure. Good idea.
Mm-hmm. And vacuum sealing is cheap too. Those vacuum sealers are great for all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Besides freezing your steaks and stuff in.
I use them for bullets.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. I ship bullets when I send them to guys.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I'll vac seal them. What it does is, of course, it's a packaging way, but what it also does is a lot of the hollow points we send, in order for them to work, they need to be soft. And just like the commercial casters, they don't like soft bullets because customers complain because they don't like hollow point bullets because customers complain they get the bullets all dented up and they look like heck. So if you vacuum seal them, they tend not to get banged up so much. They arrive in better shape. So that's another reason to do vacuum sealing on them. Yep, Andy does them too, I see.
Gene.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Sure, let's do this.
Just do it.
Let's do it, man.
It's time for What's Hot Pot Got?
Hot Pot has got something new and interesting tonight. We had I see about 5 of these come out of the machine on the last sort. And actually, the bag was from here in Ohio, actually where I'm at. But this is, let me get that spun around there for you, the 360 Buckhammer. This is a straight-walled cartridge that was designed for hunting for states that do not allow you to shoot bottleneck cartridges. So I'll give you a little bit of info about this. The 360 buck hammer, also called the 360 BHMR, is a SAMI spec standardized straight-walled intermediate rifle cartridge developed by Remington Arms Company. The cartridge was designed for use in American states that have specific regulations for hunting with straight-walled cartridges. Carries a bullet diameter of 3.590. It was actually designed and brought out in 2022, so this is a very, very new cartridge to the market. The overall length loaded is 2.35 to 2.5 inches. Its parent case is the 30-30 Winchester, and it is required in a 1-to-12 rifling twist. The only firearms I could find that you can get these chambered in now are Henry lever action rifles. They do offer 4 different flavors for this cartridge, but that is what I have. It's what popped out of the machine this week. So that, everybody, is what Hot Pot's got.
Very cool.
Very nice. Makes me want to go buy a new Henry.
Me too. I'm already looking at a couple of them. I don't need nothing else on the radar right now.
I guess I can take him off a blowed up then, huh?
I gave the finger before I blipped out. The hot pot finger, the hot pot, the pointy.
I'd like to have good old Marlin in one of those. That'd be fun.
I imagine one will come out. It's becoming a popular cartridge, only being from 22. I mean, it's just going into its second year of being around. And Henry took it on. And CW was saying that there was actually a pistol that it came out in a pistol too.
Yeah. BFR. Big frame revolver.
Yeah. Can you throw any more information in on that, CW?
Pretty much what Gene covered. I was surprised to hear that they are twisting that 1 in 12. There's really no reason to. 1 in 16 would have been fine, but
1 in 12, what they're using a 180 to 200 grain projectile, and they're deadly accurate. I mean, they say deadly accurate at 200 yards, good for 3, but 200 yards is the deadly accurate point of impact for that bullet with this cartridge.
Johnny, the diameter on the Legend is 3.55.
What's kind of close to the knockdown power at that distance does that Buckhammer have compared to another
virtually identical to the 35 gram.
35? Okay.
Yeah, it's virtually identical. It's brought up a lot of questions for people. Why? It's just because it's a straight wall. It just that's what the new rules are, and that's what it was built for.
Okay.
It's not. It duplicates a lot of their cartridges. It doesn't do anything that hasn't been done a few times over. It just needs to have that straight wall to be legal in these states. So that's why it is. That's why it exists.
Yeah. Just giving you options.
Yep.
So you don't, if you're in a straight walled cartridge like I am, you don't have to use a 350 Legend. You can choose to use a different round. So you don't have to be like all your buddies out there hunting. You can be a little different. Of course, you're all dressed in bright orange camo, but
I think it's only Magnum Research make the revolver that shoots that. I had a quick look online now, and it's just the Magnum Research one.
I didn't find that, but thank you. That's good to know.
So I think 360 is 3.57, and you would run your cast bullets 3.58. So Johnny says he wants 3.58. Mike Hester says 3.55 is 9mm, which was what was so disappointing to us casters and reloaders when 350 Legend came out. And Andy said he wants 400 Legend. And Johnny, you're not alone. Think of all the possibilities out there with all the 38, 357 bullet molds most of us have. I can't even count how many I have, but I promise you it's not as many as CW and Walter. I think I have six, 8, maybe 9, just 35, 357, 38 caliber bullet molds.
Yeah, there's a lot of choices out there.
Mr. Pollard's right.
Yeah.
True.
The
The
deer
nice
won't
thing-
know.
The nice thing about the cast bullet size is the cast bullet side it's just a different sizing die. So it doesn't really matter what it is to us casters. But jacketed bullets, it was a big deal. You know, if you're a hand loader and you want to be hand loading, and it's there was no 3.55 or 3.56 hunting bullets. Everything was 9mm bullets. You know, 147 was the biggest you can get. That's just all there was. But I read somewhere that the part of the reason for doing it that way was to keep the costs down. They wanted to keep the costs down cheap, and being able to do it without retooling for a larger bullet size, it kept their costs down. So I guess that's the most sensible reasoning I've heard for doing it, but still is odd. Now it doesn't really matter. There's a lot of companies making bullets, you know, a lot of stuff available to hand loaders, a number of custom manufacturers. So there's plenty of stuff out there you can get for that's going to work in the Legend.
I did find some 35 Remington brass in that bag too. So I stuck that back.
35 Remington is tough to get.
Yeah, that's hard to find brass.
It actually, when the sorter kicks it out with the 7.62 by 39 because it has the same width base. And the roll sorter goes by the base. So I'll be having a video coming up soon all about my shop, from when stuff comes in to where it's processed, how it's processed, to all the way out the door to shipping.
That'd be cool.
That'll be
been
cool to
doing-
see.
I've been doing little shorts and stuff, and I'm just gonna overlay some vocals on it
Cool. I'd love to see that.
and explain stuff. I got 2 more to take and a couple pictures, and then I'll start the process of editing it.
You know, that's something that a lot of us don't ever really get to see, and therefore don't really understand what's involved, you know, at that level. So
It's there's a lot involved. I mean, we're not huge level like, you know, like Federal or somebody like that, but for only 4 of us working there, man, we do a lot in that shop. We keep that rolling. We had an order today. JoJo came back with 6 boxes and filled them all with 9mm dirty brass on one order.
wow.
I mean, thousands and thousands of rounds of 9mm. It's crazy. I mean, see it all the time, though. You know, we got one guy that buys washed and polished 223-556 mixed case, and he gets 690 pounds of it at a time. And that's a 55-gallon barrel and 2 large FedEx boxes.
Oh, 6-shooter. That's a tough one.
Yep. Done that too.
As long as it wasn't the Air Gun Sunday video. We gotta have that. And Sunday don't work unless we get started off with Air Gun Sunday.
Andy, good luck tomorrow, man. I hope you buy that, Dylan, if that's what you want. Hope they get a good deal on it. So it
Good
makes
night,
it
Andy. It's a good
worthwhile.
press. It's a good
Night,
little
Andy.
press.
Good night, Andy.
Hey, I want to address this. Michael Dunn. Sometimes he'll comment on one of my videos, and I try to comment back, and it won't let me. It'll say error, and then I'll try to watch some. I'll try to go to his channel, and it won't let me do anything on it. and I don't know what it is. And he's saying that he doesn't see my stuff either, and I don't know why.
What's been happening to me is someone will make a comment, like say, Gene, you comment on one of my videos, and I'll try to reply, and I'll type it in, hit the go button, and then come back, look, and it's not there. My reply, it didn't give me an error. It just doesn't post it, and then I'll go over to the YouTube Studio part and look where you can go look for comments that you haven't responded to, and it's not there either. And it just vaporizes my reply comments.
Yeah, that happens with me and Michael Dunn a lot, and I don't understand why. But mine does say error on the bottom of it when I hit send enter, it'll put up error, and it's like why?
Yeah,
I'm trying to comment back with him, trying to talk to him.
Right. Same with me with Full Ed Taco. He can comment on my videos, but I can't comment on his.
Well, I haven't noticed that it was with one specific subscriber of mine. I have to pay more attention to that, but I don't think it was. I think it's been happening with several guys who are just won't absorb my replies.
So Rich White and James Pollard have had the same issue. Scotsman says they're getting more and more frequent.
Yeah, as soon as I've got enough 35 Remington brass, I'm just going to buckle down and buy what I can find. I found one at the gun show, but the guy already had it sold. He just had it on display.
Okay. This leads me to another topic, Gene. Thanks for that segue. And I know I'm reaching here. So those of us who reload, how many of us have different die sets and why for the same cartridge? All right. Now this is the thing. So you said when you get enough 35 Remington brass, you're going to buckle down and buy what you can get. So you may be able to find some of those CVA Scout single shots or something like that. I wish they still made handy rifles because they made barrels that were interchangeable and all that stuff. But that's an interesting concept to me, but I don't want to answer it because I want to give you guys some time. Let's start with Mark Thomas, and then we'll go to Mac Man. They ain't been saying much tonight. So go for it, Mark.
Like, if I could find a 35 Remington, what would I buy?
No. How do you have different die sets for the same cartridge? Like, how many die sets do you have for 35 Remington? Or
just
what?
Just the one. But I have two sets for 38 357 already in the turret, just so that I don't have to change them. I can just put one in, take the other out, and I can load 38 or 357, and I don't have to mess with the settings at all. I have two sets of 45 ACP because I already had one, and I found another one super cheap in a bargain bin. So I just went ahead and bought it, brought it home, tried it out, and set it up. So I have that one to use. I bought a really nice set of old RCBS 41 Magnum dies, and I'm using those now. But I realized they're old steel dies. They're not carbide. So I'm going to go ahead and buy a set of Lee carbides just so I have an extra set and I won't have to worry about lube on certain loadings when I want to. So it's just nice to have so you don't have to change settings. It's nice to have so that you can mess around a little bit. Sometimes you can buy one set that has a crimper, a factory crimp die alongside with the other three. Sometimes you just buy the 3 die set because it's cheaper and you want to get started going. I only have one set of 45 Colt dies right now, but I'm going to pick up another set once I get once I get a revolver that I want. So just nice to have options.
You hit on one of mine. I think we all are in love with the Lee factory crimp die, but I digress. Go for it, Mac Man.
Yeah, I've got multiples because when I started loading, I was only loading on Dillons. So I've got nearly all the dies in the Dillon dies and something like 38 special 357. I got 2 sets because I got one set up for 38 and then the other one set up for 357. Same with the 44 mag. I got 2 sets of the Dillon dies. But when I started getting more into it and casting and everything, and I started using the T7 and everything else, I started buying nicer dies. I say nicer dies, but dies that would suit it better rather than the Dillon dies. So I probably got 4 sets of 38 special and 357, and it's just that I can. So if I just want to go and make a load of 357 with plated bullets, and I just want to take some friends to the range and we want to make 300 or 400 rounds, I'll set it up on the Dillon and I just run them through really quick. They're just plinking rounds and just make a load of them. But if I want to make rounds up for myself that I want to use, I'll do them on the T7 or one of the Elite Classic presses where it's more precise. Then I can hand load them rather than just turning them out like a factory. So yeah, I've got multiples. And then especially when it comes to crimp dies, after talking to Walter, I got all sorts of crimp dies, different ones for different bullets and different things we set up with. And I've also started collecting these cowboy dies now because there's a much bigger base on them. So when we're using our fat cast bullets, again, with help from Walter, with these fat cast bullets, you need these cowboy dies. Otherwise, you're ruining stuff. So yeah, I got multiple sets of dies with the same caliber.
Go, Walter. You're busting.
Yeah, same way. I have at least 2 sets of dies for the 7 main pistol calibers, handgun calibers that I load for. I only load and shoot a couple of rifle calibers. I only got 1 set for those. But so I use my little Lee turret press a lot for blaster range ammo, and I've got a turret set up with a resident set of dies in that turret for, I'll say, 38 special. And I want to leave them there. And I don't want to pull them out. They're adjusted for my pet load for that round, I'll say. Okay. And I have a similar tool head set up for my Dillon 550. Same caliber, but a complete set of dies there as well. So I don't have to take them off. And granted, it's not a big deal to pull the dies out. You got 1 tool head or 1 turret. You can rotate your dies in and out. It takes a little more time. But it's a hobby for me. I can afford to do it. And so I have, for many of those calibers, a 3rd set as well. If I'm going to do load development with a new cast bullet, for example, and I want to do it on my T7 press, I don't want to pull the dies off of my pet load tool heads. So, and many of those die sets I didn't buy new. Like Mark was saying, you can find some pretty good used sets. And, maybe they've got a little bit of surface rust or something. You can clean those things up and often they're good to go. And like Mac was saying, I'm not a big fan of the Lee factory crimp die for cast bullets. I tried to like them, but I don't. They don't like fat bullets, and I don't like cedar dies that have a seating stem that don't fit my cast bullet correctly. And so oftentimes I'll go out and find a cedar die, like an RCBS cedar die, that at least comes with two different stems. Thank you. A round nose and a semi-wad cutter. And so I'll go on eBay and find somebody who's selling just the cedar die. So yeah, lots of dies for different jobs. I like those cowboy dies also for cast bullets, because the base of that seating die in particular is a little bit fatter than some of the others. So if you've got your case mouth expanded just a little bit more, even with an M die style expander, sometimes they'll want to scrape the inside of that cedar die body as they go up to seat the bullet, and that's no bueno either. I mean, you can bring your flare back down on some of them. Maybe you had over flared it, but cowboy dies are a lot more forgiving in that respect. So I've got several sets of those as well. So, that I got specifically to use for cast bullets, primarily for load development on the T7. So yeah, multiple sets, and eBay and Craigslist and those places can be your friend, because having a bunch of die sets gets expensive, particularly if they're Dillon dies. And I like some Dillon dies and not others. I don't like Dillon Cedars because on my cast bullets they leave a button on the nose. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And I would not run right out and buy 3 or 4 different sets of dies for one caliber right now. Those are die sets that I've accumulated over years. That I'm glad I have them now, but I don't know how much money I got invested in them. I don't want to count it up because it's a lot. Could have bought a truck probably, but
you don't want to know.
But it's a hobby. I don't ski. I don't rollerblade. I was going to say I don't ride motorcycles, but I did that for a long time too. That's way more expensive than shooting. So yeah, it's a hobby for me. I don't mind spending money on myself. Paul.
I said we all love factory crimp dies, and Walks yells it's an abomination. I find myself not using that as often as I thought I would. So I think maybe I don't like it as much. Like, you can't use them at all for 350 Legend. Don't do it.
They're okay for a plated or a jacketed bullet, but if you got a bullet that's just a little bit fatter, man, like a cast bullet, and you run that seated round up in there, and it wants to balk, and it'll chatter on its way up and chatter on its way back down. And if you've got a really fat bullet, that's a couple thousandths, and that's not hugely fat in many cases, and you try to push that up there, it can start to buckle your case a little bit sometimes. There's better ways to do it.
Yeah. There's Hasbro has joined us.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm going to change over from a cast bullet to any kind of jacketed or plated bullet, I always reset my crimp. I do not rely on it being the same place or doing the same thing to 2 completely different projectiles.
Yeah. For me, for a revolver round, it's that's going to do a roll crimp with a cast bullet, it's hard to beat the seating die that comes with the kit. And to do a nice roll crimp, you've already run that cartridge up in there to do the seating. It's going to go up in there and not chatter or buckle or do anything else anymore, and you just reset it to do the crimp. And if you don't want to reset the same die, then you go get yourself another seating die of the same ilk and use that as your crimp. I do that in many situations.
Mm-hmm.
There's Vanessa. Hey, Vanessa.
Hi, Vanessa.
No, there's lots of kinds of crimp dies, but I like the Redding Profile crimp die for a lot of uses too. That's a good one.
What about you, Gene?
Me? Let's see. When I first started, I would buy one set of dies and just readjust them for 10 and 40. I ended up buying 2 sets and just leave them dedicated set up, one for 10, one for 40. Same with 357, 38 special. I've got 2 sets of 45 ACP dies, 3 sets of 9mm dies because I just use them in different dies in different places, and I don't want to take them out of my tool head. So I've always got other ones, as well as like universal decapping dies and things like that. But yeah, I have duplicates on a few of them, 4 of them that I just use in other places. And I buy other sets, to use in other places, like like when you're decapping and sizing something. You know, when I'm loading 357 or 38, I always do that on a single stage. I rarely pull anything else out, and I just do them in the tray. 'Cause I'm only doing 50 to 100 at a time. You know, it's just easier just to have that extra set of dies there, you know, that's already set up. Just pull them out, put it in, go through the process, and then just, you know, rinse and repeat.
Yeah, Tommy Boy talks about that Lee Collett factory crimp die, which is probably a more realistic way to call it, to term that die a factory crimp die. That Collett die is different from the carbide ring type crimp die that Lee calls a factory crimp die, which probably really isn't a factory crimp die, but and it's that carbide ring in Lee's what they're calling the factory crimp die that causes problems for me. I don't like it. I have some of their Collett dies, crimp dies, and I do like them. They do a good job.
Yeah, it's just they're not great with cast because of the diameter.
Right.
They're a set they're a set diameter.
Yep.
Hillbilly doesn't reload, so he probably doesn't have much to add. But what can you have to add to us, Hillbilly?
Just listen to all that good stuff. Yeah, I don't reload, so not yet. I am going to start reloading 12 gauge shotgun shells this winter, so excited to get started on that.
There you go.
You'll like that.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to get it in that too, Hillbilly. I got that 20 gauge,
Oh, yeah. Sweet.
and
man.
yeah, we got 209s at the shop. They're Cheddits, but that's okay. They go bang.
I use those in my 20 gauge, and I have that same lead load all to load 20s, and it's a pleasure. Long shot powder. It just, you know, crank out 20, 25 of them, put them in the box, take them to the range, shoot them. No
Yeah.
problem.
I saved the first box I shot. I saved them. I saved all the shells because I was like, oof. I can see this going somewhere. Another hole. And
Yeah,
I just restocked long shot on the shelf yesterday. So
it don't take long to get a big trash bag full of them empty holes either. Storing them is a problem.
I got a tater cellar.
There you go.
Throw them down in there.
And I'm the same. Multiple sets of dies, more for some calibers, and for all the same reasons everybody else. You know, either I picked them up with a bunch of stuff that I bought, and they were, you know, just part of the bunch of stuff I bought, or I want them for 40 and 10 millimeter and 38, 37 and 40 and 44, or 44 and 44 special. Things like that. Sometimes I'll have a caliber that I'll just load a lot of, and I've got the 4-hole Lee as well that I like for pistol stuff, and I leave the dies in the tool heads. But sometimes I'll want to do just a small load on a single stage or something. So I'll need another set of dies, so I don't have to take those out or reset them or change my setup. So for that I'll have them, and then there'll be specialty dies, or I'll want to try a new die set, or I'll want to try a more precision die set. You know, I'll pick up a Foster. Like Walter and I had this conversation somewhere recently where multiple die sets, and I really like the Foster bench rest seating die for my rifle stuff, for anything I have that's you know, precision, where I want a little better or best accuracy. Best ammunition I can make, I'll buy that die. So I have that as a cedar die. And you got dies like the Foster inline bullet cedar, which really is it's a nice die. I won't call it match or precision by any means. It's not. But what it does a good job with is those really long, pointy bullets that are so common today. A lot of the cedar dies in reloader dies don't seat those very well or accurately, or they dent up the tips because they're just not designed for that scant ogive, that long skinny bullet nose. So that die is really nice for that because it's tailor made for those. So it does a good job. Oh, Mario's here.
Nope.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, hiya, Mario.
Mario.
He's the other left coast weirdo.
Yeah.
No,
Birds of a feather.
Crimp dies is another big one. You know,
Yeah.
all the better dies that you buy are going to come with the crimp that's appropriate for that caliber. But sometimes you'll want to experiment, or sometimes you'll have a need for, let's say, a taper crimp where roll crimps are, or in the case of the Lee, you got the collet crimp. So, you know, we've got 3 kinds of crimps we can use for most everything we're going to load, and that's a taper crimp, a roll crimp, and a collet. The collet does not require a case length to function, but it does require a case length to be appropriately administered. Meaning, what I mean is, they go by a case length as to where on the case they'll crimp. So if you were to stick a really long case in a collet style Lee factory crimp die, what would happen is the crimp would happen where the factory specs are for the end of that case to be. So if the case is really long, the crimp is going to be down farther on the neck of the case. It's not going to be determined by the length of the case. And then there's some hybrid crimp dies like Walter mentioned there with the Redding profile crimp, and that's a pretty neat die. I was kind of afraid of it when it first came out because some of the crimp dies can really wreak havoc on us cast bullet guys because you know, we're sizing our bullets fat for the groove diameter. Well, the cartridges, the dies rather, are designed for the jacketed bullet diameters. This is before cowboy dies. So if you take a 357, let's say, and you size it to 360 because you want a really fat bullet. So that's 2,000ths over. But then you run it through a crimp die. Well, guess what? You just lost your bullet diameter, at least for the portion that the die crimped it, because you squeezed it right back down to smaller diameter. So everything you worked for to get that 360 diameter is lost. So I was really worried about that profile die because part of what that does is it kind of irons out the sides like a taper crimp, and then at the last minute it throws a roll crimp on. But it hasn't proven to be a problem. It's worked really well, and then you know, on Walter's recommendation, I've picked up a couple as well, and I really like them. And of course, he turned Julian onto the cowboy dies, and I've got a few sets of them as well. And their cowboy stuff is mostly lead, so they're tailored for lead bullets, so they're a little more generous and accommodating to cast bullets, which are larger diameter.
Yeah.
Conversely, if any of you guys use Hornady dies, especially the cedar, are quite unfriendly to cast bullets because they've got that little floating little follower, which is really nice for aligning your bullets with jacketed. Well, it sticks to cast bullets.
Yeah.
So you put your cast bullet up in there and you seat it and you try and take it out, and they're held in by this little bitty Chinese little
like a
finger that
sleeve.
sticks out.
Yeah.
And it only holds that follower for a couple of times of trying to pop your fat bullet back out, and then they break or they wear out. And now your little follower inside your cedar die comes right out of your die and doesn't longer stay in there. So these are things that you learn
Yeah, that's a good idea. You know,
It really works well.
sleeve, it does, you know, and it helps get that bullet started in that case really straight, which is, you know, something that we want to do,
Yeah.
but not with a cast bullet.
I
Like you said.
I just went back to it. I'm actually using it now for these new 300 hammers because the dies I picked up are Lee's because the hammer die sets are pretty expensive and they're not really readily available. You could order them from Wilson, but they're even a little more money when you order them over there. But I picked up a set of Lee's and they run $50, but I found a set on eBay. They popped up for $30. So I grabbed them, $30 shipped. So I was thrilled, but I know they're Lee dies and I've had my troubles with Lee dies. And I had to fix the cedar, the decapping stem, of course. That's been a constant issue with me with Lee dies. And I fixed that. I know how to fix that. And then the cedar. Well, I had a heck of a time with the cedar. And I was going to do a video, but I don't want to be picking on Lee dies again, but I'll mention it here because we're talking about it. And that is their design for the cedar stem. It's kind of just a little peg and it sits inside there and it's got a stem on the top and then a cap to hold everything down. And it works okay, except that there's virtually nothing there to help align the bullet, especially if the bullet doesn't fit in that little tapered cone that they call a cedar. And I haven't found any bullets that I seated that fit in that cone. So it literally seats the bullets crooked in your necks and warps your necks on every bullet, every case you try and seat, because it will not start them straight. You have to very carefully just touch it down a couple thousandths and then adjust your bullet in your case to be as straight as you can by hand. Put it back in the press and then seat it a little bit more and then pull it back out again because it wants to make it wonky because it doesn't hold it square. So I ditched that right away and I pulled down a set of 300 Blackout Hornady dies, and I've been using that for the cedar because the hammer is basically a long Blackout. It's got a little bit shorter neck, but it's basically a longer case Blackout. So you can use that cedar die to seat your bullets, and it seats them beautiful because it's got that little follower that hangs down out of the case and holds the shoulder, holds the bullet aligned squarely, and then seats it nicely. So some of the things you run up against, some of the problems you could have, may not be nothing you're doing. It may be the product you're using. So stuff like that is can be a real help to you guys if you're battling with that. Because we've been there and done that, seen that. So
That's good to know.
Speak up and ask the question.
That's good to know, CW, because I hate my 300 Blackout seating die on my Lees.
Yep.
I hate it.
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess bottom line to that whole question is, there's plenty of reasons to have multiple sets of dies. But if you're just getting started, you don't want to feel like you have to run right out and buy 3 or 4 sets of dies for one caliber. The best thing to do is ask somebody who's an experienced reloader, hey, here's the caliber I'm going to reload for. What would you suggest? Or
you can also buy single dies.
Yeah, you can buy single dies and mix and match them, which is what a lot of us, including me, do anyway. You look at my tool heads and turrets, there none of them that have one manufacturer only in that tool head, except for the one video I did this last week about using Lee dies on the Dillon. I put all Lee dies in there, but
Mark mentioned going to buy another set of dies for the 41 mag to get a carbide. You can just buy a carbide sizer die.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can get Lee if you want to, and you can get other brands as well.
Mm-hmm.
They are a little more costly when you buy just a single die, and if you have a use for the set in other places, it may be a little more cost effective. But you can buy single dies, and the Lees are pretty cheap single dies. Something else that I'll mention again that I've mentioned a number of times, and not so much picking on Lee, but a little bit picking on Lee. They kind of clouded the water, and especially for new loaders, and this is targeted to new loaders, and that is factory crypt die. Factory crypt die, to my way of thinking, is a collet die. Mm-hmm. But they've been calling their roll crimp die a factory crimp die, their taper crimp die a factory crimp die, and to a new reloader, that can be very, very confusing, and it's needlessly so. It's not a factory crimp die. Factory crimp die, when they brought it out, it was exactly that. It duplicated what Winchester and other companies were doing, crimping their bullets, because it was a collet style crimper, and it was something that we hadn't seen before. And it was an innovative product, and it worked quite well. It's very powerful. You can seriously deform your bullets using it wrongly. It's very, very powerful, and it works really well for some things that you wouldn't, immediately think of. Like the guys over on the 450 Bushmaster board years ago were modifying them to put a stab crimp in to help bullet retention on the 450 Bushmaster, because it had some real problems with bullet setback, and they dropped it back so it was off the mouth back into the shank of the bullet a little bit, where it didn't greatly affect performance. And they actually made like a stab crimp out of the collet die by shaving off the bottom of the die so it moves it down. But anyway, they clouded the water with new loaders because they think they're buying a factory crimp die, and they're buying a roll crimp, or they're buying a taper crimp, or they're buying an actual factory crimp die. So
yeah, they started doing that when they came out with their carbide sets. They put that crimp die in that was a carbide crimp die, and that's when they started calling that thing, with that carbide ring in the bottom of their crimp die, they started calling all of those FCDs, all factory crimp dies, when they're not. Like I said, they're not really a factory crimp die.
Yeah, I haven't pushed it yet, Mike. I'm still. I've just got the barrel broken in. I think I've got about 65 or 70 rounds through the barrel, so I will start pushing it now. But yes, I've gotten over 2,600 with a 110 grain bullet. I've gotten just a little faster than the Blackout does with most other bullet weights. But again, I haven't really pushed velocities yet.
Okay, we're overdue big time for the verse of the week, and we're going to have to do this quickly because we're almost out of time, guys. Great conversation tonight. We're still in Matthew chapter 5, and we're up to verse 14 and 15. And the reason we're on the banners can only be 200 characters long, so that's why we have to do it like this. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Okay, let's go back to this one. Jesus tells his followers that they are the light of the world. They are like that city on the hill that cannot be hidden. So, and he illustrates that with verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't put a basket over a candle to make it dark, or why light the candle, but you put it on a lampstand in some translations, and it gives light to everybody that's in the house. So when we come to that point where we're trying to live for the Lord and we're trying to do right, we need to remember that we're that city on the hill that attracts other folks to come. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, of course it does. And I think there's two pieces of verse 14. It's not only that we need to lead by example, because we are that candle that's gonna light up the world. But you have to keep that in mind, that people are gonna watch you and see what you're doing. So you don't want to be a poor example either, because even a poor example is going to stand out like a lit candle sometimes. So, I try to lead my life in a way that others would look at me and say, he's a stand-up guy. You know, he's a follower, he's a believer, and this is something of an example that I might want to ascribe to at some point. But you gotta remember that the other side of that is, if you're a poor example, people are going to see that too. So don't forget about that piece of it.
Absolutely. Anybody else got anything on the verse of the week?
I do. If nobody else is saying anything, I totally agree with what Walter was saying. That's something that, my grandmother, they always pointed out and made sure you knew it. If you're going to be shining a candle for people to look at, you better make dang sure that what they're seeing is going to be good and not bad. Because that, like you said, Walter, that can go either direction. And so.
And Hillbilly, in a way, he says it with every one of his videos. He says, "Good, try to make somebody's day better." Well, that's leading by example. Tip your hat to the ladies when you pass them on the street. Say howdy to the little kids and smile at them and be an adult. And don't be a jerk. There's enough jerks around.
Well, with you saying that, Walter, tipping your hat to the ladies, now I know why your hat looks like that. It used to be a baseball cap, but
it's growing off the end here. I don't know. It's any longer, and you won't be able to see me. But I honestly do that. I'm walking down the street. I'm not doing a whole lot of walking now, but I'll tip my hat to the ladies and say hello to the gentlemen and strike up a conversation. There's a lot of folks that I pass when I'm out walking or in the grocery store or at the mall or wherever. It doesn't cost you anything to be nice to folks. It doesn't cost you anything at all to lead by example. So.
Yeah, I like what Hasbro said as well. You can't hide being a Christian and be a Christian.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like that.
So, Thorzak showed up. Good to see Dave out there.
Hey, Dave, I didn't see you pop in. Thought I was looking. Howdy, Dave.
Good night, Mike.
Good night, Rebel. See you next time.
See you, Mike.
Also, I'd like to add something else there, if you don't care, real quick, Jamie. If you use the contrast of dark being evil and light being good, wherever light shines, dark has to go. It cannot coexist with light. And so I'm almost like, to me, that goes hand in hand with the light of your candle. Because if it's shining bright, darkness can't exist. And within light, it just has to go.
I agree. That's another whole layer to the teaching there. And see, the Sermon on the Mount goes on for 2.5, almost 3 chapters, maybe 3. So, yeah, we got a lot to go over. So that's verse of the week. Anybody else? CW, you got anything, Mark?
Oh, it's a good one. It's exactly as you said. Yep. That's how I see it and interpolate it, and how I try and live my life as well.
I'll be the first to admit that I'm not always as good as I want to be, but I do try. You know, I think about it, and I take a step backwards every once in a while too.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
That's just part of being who we are, human. We are fallible, but you can step back and then make the right choice.
There's Chad Kelly.
Hey, Chad.
Howdy, Chad.
All right, so it's probably about 10 till or less. We probably need to start clearing the deck for Gizzard
Foul
Gary.
territory. Yep.
And who wants to? Mac, man, you ain't been here for a while. You ain't said a whole lot tonight. What you got coming up, my brother?
So, hunting tomorrow. I got my first duck hunt. We're going to go out in a boat on one of the local lakes and see if we can do some duck hunting. We've had a bit of a rain and a nice cold front come through, and I think it's pushing the ducks down. So I'm looking forward to that. So I got that planned for first thing in the morning. Drop a couple of videos over the weekend. Try and do some videos of the duck hunt if that comes out. I've got a 800 subscriber giveaway. If anybody wants to jump in on that, I got a nice little out the front knife to give away. I'll probably be doing it tomorrow afternoon or Sunday. So just go to my channel and just put any comment you like on that 800 sub video. Doesn't matter, just say hi. That's all it needs to be. And I can put you on the draw, and we'll do that draw over the weekend. I got my normal stream, 6 o'clock Arizona time, and I think it's now 8 o'clock Eastern. So I got that stream on Monday night if anybody wants to join me on that. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of reloading lately. I've just spending a lot of time in this room. The temperatures are cooled down now, and I can spend more time out here. Trying to get and do some more shooting. And yeah, we're having a good time. And really appreciate being on here tonight. I haven't spoken too much, but it's been a while since I've been on, so I didn't want to jump in too much. And say hi to everybody in the side chat. It's been great watching your comments and questions. I really enjoyed it. And thank you so much. I really appreciate being on here.
Well, thanks for being here, man.
Congratulations on those 800 subs too, buddy. Real quick, congratulations.
Absolutely. So y'all get over and get in that giveaway. Mr. Mark Thomas, what you got coming up this week?
Not sure what I'll have coming up. We'll see if we can get any reloading done or casting done this weekend. I doubt that I'm going to out in the woods and do any hunting, but we'll see what happens. I do have a few leather projects I'm going to be working on. Maybe I'll make a quick video about some of those. And I did my first trigger pull Thursday yesterday, and I'll get one going for next week. I've got something kind of different. It's a revolver that's been shown on the channel before, but it's been a while back, and it's something that you don't see too often. So we'll do a trigger pull on that one, and looking forward to seeing y'all next Friday. So thanks all. Thanks to the side chat. Have a good evening. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for being here, man. Mr. Walter.
Well, as I said, I had a good week, and it kind of started off with the hillbilly up there. We had a lot of fun with that one, and I'm still pretty gimpy. I can't get out to the range, and it's probably going to be 3 weeks. But I've got at least 2 more episodes of the Moldy Mondays already in the can and ready to go. So those are still going to show up. And like Mark over here, I started the Trigger Pull Thursday this week too. Our videos dropped almost back to back this week. I thought that was kind of cool. So I'm going to keep up with that. I think that's actually a good idea. And after a year or something of that, there's going to be a big database for people to go look at and say, hey, what's the trigger pull on these different kinds of guns? So that's kind of a fun thing. Doesn't take much. So I'm going to do that next week. I got a couple more doc visits coming up with this crazy knee and try to get that squared away. But other than that, life is good. for me, and I really appreciate being here. This is something I look forward to every week, each and every week. I think I'll start thinking about next Friday night as soon as we sign off of here. Well, maybe after dinner I'll start thinking about it, but so I'm very appreciative of everybody that's here. It's always fun to interact with side chat guys over there. I consider all you guys my friends now. We've been at this for quite a while, so it's a good thing for me. So, hey, Gene, what you got going on, man?
Well, I want to thank you for having me on. I really enjoy Friday nights. I'm really enjoying doing the What Hot Pots Got. And I want to thank the panel and the side chat for contributing in on what I bring. I always try to bring something interesting. I am going to start bringing in some more common things that maybe some people have never seen or don't really know anything about, but maybe hear about. Introduce everybody to some of the factory stuff, instead of all, some of this bench rest Gucci things, something a little more common. But I want to thank the side chat tonight for joining in. Panel, you guys are great. Love y'all. No homo. And thanks for putting up with me. I greatly appreciate it. And I hope everybody just has a blessed weekend. And remember, it's only once around the ride.
Amen. Thanks for being here, Gene.
Can't see that smoke, buddy.
Go ahead, Hillbilly.
Oh man. First of all, I want to say real quick, I enjoyed doing that video, Walter, and I know what it's like to be down, not be able to get out and shoot some videos. So I'm going to do a challenge. The first 3 people, which Walter will hopefully keep track of this for me, that makes a video and send it to Walter for him to post, I'm going to give away one of these thin black flip-up knives. So first 3 people that send Walter a video for him to use on his channel.
This could get ugly.
Oh man.
You better buy more. You better buy more knives.
The first 3. I'd love to buy them for everybody, but I'm afraid that would get quite expensive for me. But we all know you gotta keep that algorithm going, and you got such a great channel, and we don't want to see that slow down on you. And don't put him in jail. So make sure you don't say anything that's going to get him put back in jail. So, but anyway, got videos coming out. Got some posts I posted today. Some ammo that I bought. There's got a lot of videos coming out. I got the dagger videos coming out on more of those videos. We're gonna have a lot of fun with that, and I got some more guns that's coming new to the channel. So I'm really excited. Thanks for having me here tonight. I love Friday nights. Being on here with Georgia Shooting Connection and Gizzard Gary coming up next. Friday nights are just awesome. Great panel, awesome side chat as always. I want to thank you all so much for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Always a pleasure.
Go ahead, CW.
I got a couple of videos in the queue, a couple more that I want to do. I've been to the range a second time with the 300 hammer, so that video is coming up. And I got to the range. I got to shoot the 375 Winchester as well, so I got that video coming up. And there's a couple more coming up. I'm having a good time with the Thursday trigger. So that's been fun. Try pulling out things that you don't normally see or are not so common, so to make it a little more interesting for everybody. And that's been going well. I'm also going to get out in the woods tomorrow. It's going to be it's not our season ender. Season ends, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday. But I don't think I'll get back out again. So this is probably going to be the last day until muzzleloader opens next weekend. So I'll be out there tomorrow, and hopefully we can get another one in the freezer. Jamie, what's going on with you?
Oh man, I got lots of videos to make. So Dave slept in a little bit. Congrats on your retirement. I'm jealous, and I admit it. Let's see. I'm not going to try to go down the list. Y'all go over and watch Gizzard Gary if you ain't got anything else to do. It's December. Remember the reason for the season. It's not about presents and gifts, although those are nice.
Nice to give.
It's great to give. It's great to give. So let's clear the deck for Gizzard Gary. I hope the Lord blesses you all real good. And if he's willing, we'll see y'all back next Friday night at 8 o'clock. Say good night, y'all.
God bless everyone.